Welcome to the Courage to Change with Karen podcast, the place where we get real about addiction recovery and celebrate the victories against struggle. I'm Karen Gardenier, your navigator on this journey of healing, committed to uplifting families touched by addiction. Together, let's unravel the intricate dance of mind, body, and spirit with compassion, tenacity, and steadfast commitment. Hi, welcome to Courage to Change with Karen. I am Karen Gardenier, and I'm so happy you've joined me today. Today I'm going to be reading out of the Courage to Change meditation book, and I'm going to read June 6th. All right, if you'd like to join me, if you have your Courage to Change book, it's page 158. All right. How easy it can be to justify our own unacceptable behavior. Perhaps we excuse ourselves, claiming that we were provoked or we had no choice, or we dismiss our actions by telling ourselves that everyone does the same thing. With these and other justifications, we pretend that our wrongs don't count. This denial must be overcome when we take the fourth step. With this step, we take a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. It is fearless because of the strong spiritual foundation we have established by taking the first three steps. It is moral because we list what we feel has been right or wrong about our conduct. And it is searching. The only way we can take this step thoroughly, searchingly, is to resist the desire to justify and excuse what we uncover. It may demand courage and self-discipline, but by freely acknowledging who we have been, we can make positive changes about who we are becoming. I'm going to read that again. Okay, this is a really pivotal step. And this is when the big aha moment happened for me was during this step. I'm going to read it again. It's June 6th, page 158, Courage to Change. How easy it can be to justify our own unacceptable behavior. Perhaps we excuse ourselves, claiming that we were provoked or had no choice. Or we dismiss our actions by telling ourselves that everyone does the same thing. With these and other justifications, we pretend that our wrongs don't count. This denial must be overcome when we take step 4. With this step, we take searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. It's fearless because of the strong spiritual foundation we have established by taking the first 3 steps. It is moral because we list what we feel has been right or wrong about our conduct. And it is searching. The only way we can take this step thoroughly, searchingly, is to resist the desire to justify and excuse what we uncover. It may demand courage and self-discipline, but by freely acknowledging who we have been, we can make positive changes about who we're becoming. Then at the bottom it says, today's reminder. I am a human being with strengths and weaknesses, capable of achievements and mistakes. Because I accept this, I can look closely at myself. Today I will find something to appreciate and something to improve. All right, so I want to talk about this 4th step. Let's just talk about the 4th step. I was watching what was it that I was watching? I was watching something last night. I was watching something on Netflix, I think it was, and the guy was in the program, and he ran into his drug dealer, and the drug dealer said something like, hey, I haven't seen you for a long time, and the guy says, oh, well, I got clean. He said, ooh, you got clean. Are you here to make an amends? And what that told me was, it's very well known in the world that people that take the steps do an inventory and make amends. And that freaks people out. People freak out. They don't want to take an inventory, and they definitely don't want to say they're sorry. There's things in our lives that we are not going to apologize for, right? There are wrongs that have been committed. And I understand that. I understand that there's a misconception about these steps. These steps are a spiritual process. okay? And when you come to any kind of 12-step program, you're looking for help, right? So you go to Al-Anon, you go to Nar-Anon, and you want help, but you're the victim, right? You come in because someone is not doing the right thing. Someone is misbehaving. Someone is not doing what you want. Someone is not meeting your expectations, right? If they would change, then everything would be fine. That was my thinking when I went to Al-Anon. I kind of thought that when I went to Al-Anon, they were going to tell me how to change the person, like how to deal with them, how to respond so that they would make healthier choices, how to discuss it with them. And that's not what I got. So whenever you're going to a 12-step program, I think the first thing is you want so much help. You go in and you think that this program is going to make you good, right? You're going to be an angel. You're going to get spiritual and enlightened and above it all. And that's not really what this is about. So I wish I could scream it from the mountaintops what 12-step programs really were and how effective it really is to do this simple process. First thing, I think it's simple because it's just simple. You don't have to think much about it. Something's going to happen automatically. The way they're lined up, that if you follow each step in order and you do what it says with some open-mindedness and willingness, you're going to have a shift in your perception. You're going to see something different. And that's what we need here. Because right now, you're only seeing your situation from one angle. Right? It's often, I've done a lot of talks where I use the example where I'm holding up a book. And I'm holding it up in front of my face and I say, okay, what do I see? Well, I see words. White paper and black print words. What do you see if you're standing across from me? Well, you might see a blue cover, right? You might see a red cover. Now, are you wrong? No. Am I wrong? No. We're just seeing it from different perspectives, right? So you got to shift that around. You got to see things differently. You've got on a pair of glasses that are foggy, and we need to clean them off, right? We need to clean them off, and we need to maybe make some, maybe a stronger prescription in those glasses because you're not seeing things quite right when you come to a 12-step program. So this this fourth step they're talking about here is when things really changed for me. This is when I really got to see the truths about myself, big truths about myself that were really hard to swallow. Things I had been rationalizing and justifying for a long time. And it empowered me. That empowered me. Because if what happened to me is the problem, is going to dictate my life, then I'm screwed. But if how I respond to it is what makes up my life and me, then I got a chance, right? Because I can change how I react. That's really what the steps are about. Changing your view, changing your reaction, right? So it takes you from being a victim of something that happened to you to having some control because you get to respond how you respond to it. However, you first got to see what you're doing. And the particular process that I was taught on how to go through this step is brilliant. You go through it by yourself. No one's telling you. No one's grading it. No gold stars. You do the work as outlined, and you're going to see something different about yourself. And you can't deny it because it's in your own handwriting. You wrote it down. And it's private. You're the only one that gets to see it. And something really spiritual or magical happens when you do this process. It's a spiritual program for sure. I just want to take a minute here and invite you all to Mastering the 12 Steps. I put this together. This is exactly the way I take people through the steps. This is every step group I've ever done in a nutshell. And I'd like to invite you for this, a process of understanding each step and how to apply it to your life. It's really a valuable tool if you've never done the steps, or if you've done them but you're not quite sure if you did them, because they're kind of vague. When you go to a lot of groups, people, will ask someone to sponsor them, and they'll say, okay, well, read this. All right, you're done with step 1. And the person doesn't really know what they did. So if you're unclear about it and you didn't get a big aha moment, I suggest you go through them again. This is also a great tool for people who sponsor. If you want to sponsor people and you want to take people through the steps, this is a great little blueprint that I've put together. It also has everything you can print. So it has the step sheets, it has the readings, it has everything you need to take someone through the steps, 12 steps of Al-Anon or Nar-Anon. So I just wanted to invite you to that. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. So just look at the show notes down below. You might have to hit more so you see all of them. And there will be a link there for you to get mastering this 12 steps. Not only did I learn so much by doing this process, I learned about myself. Big things about myself that I never knew. And I've been through a lot of therapy in my life. I've been to a lot of therapists. I've been to inpatient treatment. I've been to a lot of programs, and I've never found out the truth about myself so much as I did doing these steps. And it took me about 2 weeks to get through them. Doesn't take long. You can do it faster than that. I've taken people through them in a week. So it's not a long process. If anybody tells you you can't start them until you get a year, or you go to the program for this long, or that's not true. You can do them right away and you can get some relief. There's some relief right away in the humility that you find in being honest with yourself. And it's not hard. All these people talk about the 4 steps. Sounds like it's just really, when they say searching and fearless moral inventory, it's really about doing a process. And the process, the way it's set up, is spiritual in itself. So I always tell people, don't even think about it. Just do it. And if something pops in your head, write it down, because you will see exactly what you're supposed to see. And the way the steps are set up, you're only going to have to do this once. I know there's people out there that go through do a 4-step every year. I don't do that. I figure if I go through the 4-step once, and then I use the rest of the steps like I'm supposed to, I'm cleaning stuff up every day so I don't have to ever build up another 4-step. And every time I take someone else through the steps, I'm doing it again. So I do redo my steps every time I take someone else through. And the beauty of that is when I'm taking someone else through the step, I can see things that I cannot see in myself. And I have these aha moments. And, it's really amazing. I'll tell you about one of my aha moments. It was actually not in this instance so dramatic. I'm going to share it with you, even though it happened in an AA meeting and not an Al-Anon meeting. I've done the steps in both groups. But this is even about the steps. I was sitting in a meeting and I was listening to this woman. I had convinced myself that when I was sick and out there, running amok, that when I relapsed, I had made a choice to put my daughter with her father. I knew how bad it was going to get, and I wanted to just make sure she was safe and well cared for, and she didn't have to watch the train wreck. And I convinced myself of that. And I went to meetings for about a year and with that belief, with that justification and rationalization of what I had done. And I believed it with all my heart. And one day I was sitting there and I was listening to a woman talk, and she was talking about how she had sent her child to go live with her parents. And she just was like the mother of the year, right? Like me. And I thought to myself, as she was sharing, I was listening to her, and of course I was judging. And I thought, oh, she's full of you know what, right? She's full of shit. She just wanted to move that kid out of the way so she could drink. And then there it was. Bam. Sitting in my chair. No therapist. No $150 tab for the hour. No years of regression therapy. There it was. Nobody had to tell me. I came up with it myself. And I was like, oh my God, I did the same thing. And I had to be honest. And I really didn't see it. That's what the steps will do for you. If you do the steps and you're open and willing, you will see things. I saw things in my steps I couldn't believe. First thing, I found out that regardless of what's going on in my life, whether it was an AA 12-step process, Al-Anon, it could have been gaming, Gamblers Anonymous, it could have been Overeaters Anonymous, wherever I did these 12 steps, the truth of how I reacted was always the same, right? I react poorly. So I know, but the beauty of that, the power of that is now I know. Now I know as soon as I start character assassinating someone, in my head or out loud, and then I start gathering up people on my team, I know I got a problem. Like I can nip it in the bud right away. Uh-oh, I got a resentment here. I'm angry. I'm upset. I also found out, what buttons were being pushed. What were my people call them triggers. I hate that word, but what things really upset me. How I was behaving, how manipulative I was. I had no idea. And how just self-centered I was. I mean, I really thought I was this giving person, but I had no idea. And it came gently to me. Like doing these steps was a process where it was like peeling an onion. I saw only what I needed to see. And then later I'd see a little more. Later I'd see a little more. Like I wasn't ready to hear that information about myself until about a year when I heard that woman share. And if somebody would have said it to me, I probably wouldn't have heard them because I wasn't ready. I couldn't have handled it. So that's the other thing I like about the steps. It's all on your own timing, right? But doing this 4-step allows me to be honest with myself and then decide how I'm going to react, right? It freed me up. It empowered me. It was not a scary thing. And I don't have people write it like a story. The way I was taught was very brass tacks, to the point, like a business, just write down what I tell you and then write down this and bring it all together and boom, you got it, right? It's like so simple, so easy. And it breaks my heart that people, don't even want to go to Al-Anon or Nor-Anon because they know they're going to have to do the steps. Which, first thing, it's a suggestion, but I highly suggest it. Why wouldn't you want to do it? Why wouldn't you want to change and see things clearly and not... if you look at an alcoholic and addict, they're so delusional, right? They justify and rationalize and blame everybody around them. And you think, God, how could they live like that? Well, I think we all live like that to a certain degree. Maybe not as much as an alcoholic addict, but, this is a great step. This is a freeing step. Let me look at this reading again. It talks about how it's fearless because of the strong spiritual foundation we've established in the first 3 steps. That's true. I mean, people think it's a very religious program. I disagree. The first step is just admitting something is not working. And I think you admit that when you show up to an Al-Anon or Nar-Anon meeting or Gamma-Non or whatever it is. I think the minute you start showing up or listening to a podcast or reading a book or even buying the book, you're admitting, wow, I'm stuck and I need some help. That's step one. Step two is, wow, I think other people have conquered this. Other people have learned how to do this. Like, I don't have to feel like this anymore. I'm going to, I believe that these people changed. Look at them, right? And even the people that wrote the book, that's why you're buying the book, because you believe that they know something you don't. And step three is you're willing to try it. You're just willing to try it. And that means going on with steps 4 through 12. And step 4 is a process where you shouldn't have to be embarrassed. You shouldn't, because it's private. And if you do it the way it's outlined and it's supposed to be done, it's a very personal experience. It's a fantastic experience. I feel sorry that people, I think everybody should do the 12 steps. They should probably do them in school because it really teaches you how to take some responsibility, and it makes it much easier. If you're already like living with an alcoholic addict in your life and you're trying to set boundaries and you're trying to stop enabling and you're trying to communicate clearly, it's really hard when you're not sure of yourself. If you're not really sure, if you're thinking, well, God, maybe I should just give it a little more time. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. Maybe, I should just let him use the car, even though he doesn't have a license. Or maybe I should let her, whatever it is, you're so unsure. Once you do the steps, you're very clear. It's not hard, right? It's not hard to set a boundary. It's not hard to know because you're clear about yourself. You know if you're manipulating someone. If you're just trying to get your own way. You got clear boundaries. You've got tools to use. The toolbox is full. That's the other thing. When I went to Al-Anon, they talked about this toolbox. And I went for a long time. I didn't have any tools except to go to meetings. I need tools. I need more than just going to meetings because, once a week or twice a week, I'm losing my mind still. I got to have tools that I can pick up daily. And that's when I did the steps the correct way, the right way, the thorough way. I got this bag of tricks. I call them a bag of tricks instead of a toolbox of tools. Sounds more fun. So, I love the reading. And I just want to say, if you are one of those people and you are thinking that I don't want to do the steps, it's going to be hard, it's going to take months, no, it's not. And the good thing about the steps too is I used to go to this therapist and I would go, he was very good, but I'd go see him. By the time he hit the nerve, right? He'd hit the nerve. I'd start crying. I'd be like, this is it. I'm having a breakthrough. And then he'd say, oh, time's up. I'll see you next Wednesday. Well, the steps aren't like that. They finish. Once you do 4, well, then you've got 5, 6, and 7. You're not left holding the bag. You're not walking out of the office with tissue crying like an open wound walking around. It's a great program. Al-Anon and Narna, if you're not going, you should go. If you go and you hate the people because all they do is complain, well, keep going because you're going to hear the answer. And you need to see the similarities and not the differences, right? And learning how to do the steps and taking someone else through is one of the most rewarding things you can do in your recovery. For me, it's in my life. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this. So I love you all. Thank you for joining me today. Check out the show notes. Lots of stuff going on. I'm still off Facebook. I don't have the courage to change. I don't have access to Courage to Change with Karen Facebook group that we all have on here. I apologize for that. We'll have to take it up with Facebook. I don't know how to get it back. They said they suspended me, but I've never been suspended this long. And I've appealed, and there's really no business office if you've ever dealt with Facebook. So we're just going to have to wing it. And what I might do, what I'm doing for these other things that I'm doing is I'm putting together groups on WhatsApp so that people can at least ask me questions. If you're interested, if you think that's a good idea, comment. Also, if you listen to me, would you please, whatever platform it is, hit the little heart button or the like or the I highly recommend or whatever it says so I can get this out to more people. All right. Leave a little comment for me and tell me what you think about today's episode. And if you want me to talk about something in specifically directed to you and your situation, I'd be happy to. I love you all. See you next week.